This is the fifth in a series of video-based lessons that will introduce decision structures used to alter the program execution path based on conditions that are either true or false. We will begin with a review of relational operators: equal to, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to, that form the basis for any logical test or condition. We also discussed the logical operators and, or, and not used to construct more complex logical conditions. We then proceed to introduce the if, then, else block decision structure, arguably one of the most important programming constructs because it will allow us to alter the program execution based on one or more conditions. The later part of the presentation describes several variations with nested ifs, else if, and a more efficient select case block structure. However, the basic logic and purpose remains the same, which is to evaluate one or more conditions that allow us to branch the program execution. We finish by introducing list boxes, radio buttons, and checkboxes, and demonstrate their use for input selection. This material is covered in Chapter 4 of our textbook. A condition, logical test, or simply a test, is an expression involving relational and logical operators that evaluates to either true or false. Although we are mostly used to numerical conditions, such as testing whether interest rate is less than or equal to 100, the relational operators can and are being used with strings and dates. Strings are compared alphabetically with digits preceding uppercase letters, which are preceding lowercase letters, character by character, until a determination is made. Dates are simply compared chronologically, with earlier dates preceding those that come later. Start Visual Studio and open Payment Calculator project or solution in Lectures subfolder of 04_if_then_else folder. As usual, I'm going to have mine in the videos subfolder using for that particular purpose. Right-click on a payment calculator form and choose to view the code. Scroll down to Click Procedure and notice that all of the variables involved in monthly payment calculations have already been declared. In addition, the so-called go-to statement will be used throughout the lecture to skip certain parts of the code from executing, while we'll demonstrate different concepts by example. Right now, go-to does not do anything other than proceed to the next line below, labeled with LBL label. To demonstrate a simple condition with less than or equal to relational operator, right below the assignment of rate variable, which needs to be inserted again, rate equals C double rate txt rate.text, type the following line of code: txt payment.text equals rate less than 2 or equal 100. In addition, let us place an exit stub statement somewhere around slide 6 comment so we can skip the rest of the code. Scroll back up and let's examine the last statement we just entered. Admittedly, it looks a little strange with both equal sign and less than or equal sign, so we need to be careful how to read it. The correct way of reading it is as follows. First, the comparison of a rate variable to number 100 takes place if the value of rate variable is less than or equal to 100. The result of this comparison is true, otherwise it's false. Then one of those two Boolean values, true or false, is assigned with an equal or assignment operator to the text property of the txt payment text box. Save and run the program, typing a number such as 2.56 in an interest rate text box, clicking the calculate button and observing that indeed it is true that 2.56 is less than 100. Try with a number that is greater than 100, say 120. Click the calculate button and you should get false instead. Next, we demonstrate the chronological comparison of dates. But first, let's move the label LBL so we can skip the rate comparison and put it someplace right here. Let's declare the payment due date with dim PMT due as date and assign it to, inside the hashtags, June 15th, 2030. And then right below that, assign to TXT payment text box the comparison of PMT due date with another date, let's say greater than, just to be different, between the hashtags June 1st, 2030 as well. Let's save the changes, run the program, and click the calculate button. The monthly payment text box should display the value of true because the payment due date comes after the given date of June 1st, 2030. If we quit and modify the date to be, say, July 1st, 2030, save and run, we should get false because now the payment due date is not after 7/1/2030, it is before, it was already due, so the false should be appropriate result. Quit, save the program, and switch back to the presentation and continue after.